Hi, I'm Natalie Otteson, and you're listening to the Mindset School for Soulful Entrepreneurs, episode number 33. Welcome to the Mindset School podcast, a show for spiritual entrepreneurs who are ready to stop feeling stuck, reconnect to their soul's purpose, and create a deeply fulfilling life and business. I'm Natalie Otteson, transformational life coach and Reconnection Healing foundational practitioner. And I can help you scale and grow a six-figure business from a place of inner authority, wisdom, knowledge, and truth. If you are a spiritual entrepreneur and you are looking to take that first step towards your dream of running your own business, this is the show for you. Ready to step into your power and move forward with clarity and purpose? Let's go. Welcome back, Radiant Souls. Today we are diving into the third episode of this little mini series where I am talking and diving deeper into the different modalities that I personally use in my spiritual entrepreneurial business. And today I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into energy healing. This is something that I have been aware of probably my whole life. Because interestingly enough, people have always wanted me to put my hands on them. And it took me many years to figure out that I had healing properties, healing qualities in my hands. And it's also very interesting when you think about being a mother, how children always want you to put their hands on them, or our instinctive or our instinctive ability is to put our hands on our babies or our children or the people we love around us. Even when you think about hospice and things like that, it's all about putting your hands on people. There is incredible healing energy in our hands. And I do believe that we have this inside of us, and it is something that can be developed and cultivated and shared with other people. And interestingly enough, another interesting fact, I know I've said that a lot already, but another interesting fact is, the religion that I was raised in, the Mormon religion, it is all about putting the hands on the head. It's used for healing abilities. It's used for basically a psychic ability where they lay their hands on your head and they give you what they call a patriarchal blessing. And it's basically a psychic reading, so to speak. That's non-church lingo. But basically, they put their hands on your head and they give you a reading. They give you information that takes you and carries you through the rest of your life. And you get it when you're about 14 years old. Anyway, so going back to the hands on the head, many cultures, many religions, many people use the hands for healing properties. And so today I wanted to talk about Reiki. I wanted to talk about some bioenergetic healing and the reconnective healing. These are three tools that I integrate into my energy healing and my spiritual business coaching. These are three forms of energy healing that I use in my spiritual and business coaching. And I am so excited to share them with you today. So let's jump into Reiki, which is a Japanese technique that promotes healing by channeling universal energy or life force through the hands into our client that is laying on a table. So the basics of a Reiki practitioner is to lay your hands on or near a patient's body to facilitate the flow of energy, which helps to balance and harmonize the body, mind, and spirit. When I became certified as a Reiki practitioner, I did that while I was doing my life coaching and my astrology. And I absolutely loved it. I actually flew to Utah to have somebody that I love and trust certify me in Reiki. And I have to say that my favorite part about the Reiki training was the attunements. Well, number one, it was that I got to do it with my mom and my sister. The three of us did it together, and that was such a beautiful gift. But the second piece was the attunements, which is bringing the energy into the hands through a journey, so to speak. And what came to me during that process was life-changing for me. I will never forget the images that I saw and the path that was laid out before me doing my Reiki attunements. As a certified Reiki healer, I find this method is particularly effective for stress reduction, relaxation, and promoting overall well-being. It works a lot with the energy centers in the body, the chakras, and Reiki is a beautiful tool in helping release some of those blocks and to align the body with the energy flow. The next one I wanted to talk about is bioenergetic healing, and this is newer to me. I went through a year-long training a couple years ago, but prior to that, I had years of working with my own practitioner and a mentor of mine to help me with bioenergetic healing, which it really focuses on the energy field around the body, also known as the aura. And it is all about balancing this field and removing blockages. So basically how this works is that, again, a practitioner, just like Reiki, often uses their hands to feel and manipulate the aura, detect imbalances, and then correct them, often without physical touch. But a lot of times it is with physical touch. I was taught to put my hands on the body. And the beautiful part about bioenergetic healing is that it's not just the auric field. You can actually go into the fascia, you can go into the bones, you can go into the muscle. I have been able to pinpoint and point out things energetically in somebody while working on them. I have a client who was suffering with motion sickness. And while I was working on her, some information came to me about her dad and her brother who had passed on about 20 years prior to this. And it was interesting because there was specific information that came to me that I shared with her after the session. And we were able to process that information. I was able to clear it from the body. And after that, she has not had motion sickness since then. And she's had motion sickness for 20 plus years since her dad and her brother died. And I could see that the energy was being held in the body, and I was able to release that energy. And long story short, again, she has not had motion sickness in her body since I released that energy in her body. Another client of mine, we were working on something specific. She was having a surgery that was coming up, and I was called to work on her shoulder. And this is actually a hairstylist, and she hasn't been able to, I didn't know this until after the session was over, but I was called to work on her shoulder, and I was called to release. There was a bunch of stuff that I was doing in her shoulder. And after the session was done, she started moving her shoulder around and was moving it up over her head and moving it behind her back. And she had said, I have not been able to do this in years. I had 2 doctors tell me I needed to have surgery, and I have not been able to move this shoulder like this. I haven't been able to move my arm up past, her chest line in years. And so now I can't guarantee that a result like that is going to happen with anybody, but it is incredible the results that take place when I do bioenergetic healing. And the beautiful part about all of these practices, these energy healing practices, is that they can be done in person and they can be done distantly. And in fact, I remember one day I was working on a client who was in Utah, and she was having some knee pain. And I was working on her body, and after we got done, she told me she could tell every single place that I was at on her body. She was dealing with some skin rash irritation on her face, and she was also dealing with some knee issues. And when I'd gotten to her knee and I was working on her knee and I was working through the energy, she actually told me that she felt this explosion throughout her whole body. And then she could feel me working on her face and healing the energy, healing the problems that she was having on her face. And so it's incredible that, and I've had many clients who have told me this as well, that not only do they know exactly where I'm at, but they know exactly what I'm doing. Or sometimes people go into some of the deepest states of meditation or relaxation that they've ever been in. So that is kind of bioenergetic healing. That's kind of an overall nutshell of what bioenergetic healing is, but it is so much bigger and more comprehensive than I could even dive into in one little teeny tiny episode on this beautiful podcast. But in my practice, when I do this with my clients, a lot of times in coaching sessions, things will come up. Like I had a specific client who was dealing with some past trauma of assault. And what I'm able to do is go in and look at that in the body because we hold it in very specific areas of our body. And for women who have been assaulted, a lot of times that's in the pelvis area. And that can present itself in many different ways, but being able to deal with that on a coaching side and then also being able to deal with that on an energetic side, it is such a beautiful combination together. So again, in my coaching sessions, bioenergetic healing, it can be this powerful tool for not only emotional release, but helping let go of deeply rooted traumas. And speaking of trauma, when we deal with trauma in coaching, we don't go back and deal with the trauma in a coaching session. But in energy healing, we are able to kind of go in and release and clear that energy in the body. So the other one that is relatively new, and it's interesting because when I did my Reiki training, my Reiki practitioner actually gave me a book by Eric Pearl, and it's called The Reconnection. And this is the Reconnective Healing. I am a certified Reconnective Healing practitioner, and it is a beautiful gift. I traveled to a couple different places over the last couple years and got my certifications. And basically, the Reconnective Healing is relatively new, yet it is a very potent modality that goes beyond the techniques and methods. And it allows for return to optimal states of balance. And even deeper than that, there's something that I can offer my clients called the personal reconnection, where I can go in and attune the body basically back to the meridian lines of the planet, which I know some of this is like, whoa, what are you talking about? Maybe you understand this, maybe you don't. And I can dive into some of these topics a little bit in some episodes moving forward. But basically, it does an axonal alignment in the body where it brings you back into full alignment and it sends you on your path. And it's very specific. It's very specific how it's done. You need to have 2 sessions within a 72-hour period of time. It has to be done in person. It's about 30 minutes each. And it is a energy exchange of $333. And the clients that I have done this on, and even myself, because I've had my own personal reconnection done as well, it has completely shifted and transformed their lives and sent them on a path that is unexplainable. And I've had several of them come back to me and say, I don't know if it's because of this or it's because of the personal reconnection, but my life is just on track. And so that is part of the reconnective healing and being certified in the personal reconnective technique. So the experience of the reconnective healing is that it is deeply transformative and is said to involve reconnecting strands of DNA and integrating light and information. And the other part of the personal reconnection is that, in fact, I did an Instagram live a little while back with one of my practitioners who the energy, again, it can be felt in person, it can be felt distantly, but the energy, it can literally cause involuntary reaction in the body. So my insights on the personal reconnection or the reconnective healing is that it really is a wonderful tool for those who are looking to make significant shifts in their consciousness and spiritual development. So the beautiful piece is I kind of bring all of these together and work with them depending on what I feel like my client needs. But the common thread is intention and consciousness. So they all kind of share this foundation. And with all of these modalities, what they have in common is the power of, again, intention and consciousness, which serves as a catalyst for healing and transformation. And it does help on this empowering. It does help to empower you on your own journey Whether you're a practitioner or a recipient, engaging with these healing modalities can offer profound changes on your spiritual path and actual healing. Like I said, my client who no longer gets motion sickness, my other client who is able to move her shoulder. I have other clients who have dealt with some of the traumas that have happened in their life. So I know this is a quick little episode, and I know it is a brief introduction to energy healing and the path of energy healing, but I am hoping to have my mentor who trained me in bioenergetic healing. I am hoping to have her on an upcoming podcast here soon to share more about her journey through bioenergetic healing and the transformative process that has taken her through, as well as me. So I highly recommend seeking out a practitioner, or you can come to me, and I recommend giving one of these modalities a try. And of course, and always, if this has touched you or uplifted you or triggered a deep inner knowing, please don't forget to share this episode with somebody who you think might benefit from this episode. And until next week, I want you to keep shining your inner light and keep expanding your energy fields. And I will see you next week. All my love. Thank you for joining me for this week's episode of the Mindset School. Ready to dive deeper into finding your purpose and create a deeply fulfilling life? Visit soulsistercoaching.com for more guidance and resources. See you next week.